Tvameva mātha ca pitha tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Sri Dakshinamurti Sudeshikendram Dvaipayanam Sutrakritam Munindram Sri Shankaram Bhashyakritam Yatindram Maddeshi Kanchapi Namami Vityai. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsarishibhyo Mahatbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sarvopaplavarahita Prajnana Ganaha Pratyagarto Brahmaivahamasmi. Om Prapannaparijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gita Mritaduhe Namaha. Pranams everyone. We are in chapter 3, Sloka number 21. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Yadyat ācārati śiṣṭah tattadevayataro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate. So in this section Bhagavan is talking about Loka Sangraha. The previous slokas we saw that Bhagavan said even for a jnani he might continue to do actions because he has to, because of prarabdha, because he's put in a position where he has to perform his actions, and he will take that as his prarabdha and continue to perform actions. And he said a jnani performs actions for Loka Sangraha. And here Bhagavan is explaining why Loka Sangraha has to be done, or why Loka Sangraha is important, and who has to perform it. Who will be the one who would be setting as an example for Loka Sangraha? So if we saw that for knowing what is Dharma or Adharma, we have 3 pramanas. So when we say 3 pramanas, the first pramana is our Shrutis, the Vedas. So when we say Shrutis, Vedas are vast, and therefore one person cannot understand the Vedas in one lifetime. It's so vast. So we have the secondary literature known as Smritis. Now Smritis give us directions in terms of how to lead life, what is Dharma, what is Adharma, what are the goals of our life, what is the ultimate goal, how do we need to get there. And these Smritis are based on Vedas. Whatever has been said in the Vedas are only captured in the Smritis. Then Smritis also may be difficult to understand, or they may not be from a day-to-day standpoint, from a relevant example standpoint, we may not be able to get all the answers from the Smritis. And therefore Shastras give us the third source of knowledge, the third pramana, which is known as śiṣṭa. So this third source of knowledge is called as śiṣṭa. Ācāraḥ means lifestyle, conduct. śiṣṭa ācāraḥ means the way of life led by responsible members of the society. śiṣṭa means actually cultured people, or informed people. When we say cultured people, informed people, or responsible members of the society, we expect them to have studied the Vedas or have understood the Smritis. Or we can say these are people, in other words, we can call them as Mahans. Means they themselves must have been refined, and they have followed such a way of life, and they can serve as role models for our Dharma. So we have these Shankaracharyas who are our śiṣṭa in today's life, or some of the sannyasis or gurus that we see in the society. And they are all living beings. So they are live models in the society, and they are called as śiṣṭa. So śiṣṭa means the way of life and the teachings of the live models. They are basically called as mahans. We call them as mahans. And they form our third source of knowledge. They are our pramanas to understand what is dharma and what is adharma. How they become our source of knowledge? Because their life itself is dharma. They would have conducted, or they will be conducting their life according to dharma, and therefore their life itself will be our for us to actually look up to and follow. So from here what we understand is our shastras are not rigid. They are not rigid. They are flexible, and they give us the freedom to interpret it according to the times of the society. But they only put in one condition, that do not interpret because of selfish reasons. Do not take shastras to your advantage. The basic structure of shastras should not and will not change. But in terms of practicing them, anushtanam, when we say, that we will have to adapt to the times of the society. And where is this pramana for within the shastra to say that you can actually follow śiṣṭa ācāraḥ? In Taittiriya Upanishad there is a place where it says, ye tatra brahmana sammarshinaha yukta ayuktaha aluksha dharma kamasyu yatate varteshu varteran tata teshu vartetaha esha adeshaha esha upadeshaha esha vedopanishat etat anushasanam evam upasitavyam. So here it says, basically in Taittiriya Upanishad it says, look at what learned people in the current times are doing, listen to what they preach, look up to what they are actually performing or doing, and you too follow the same. So this is within Taittiriya Upanishad, a guru actually telling his students, when they pass out of Gurukulam, this is how they have to lead their lives. So our Dharma Shastras are such that they give provision to this, saying if there is any doubt or adaptability issue on Dharma Shastra, reach out to learned people of the times, take their words as final. But who is learned, that we will have to determine. We'll have to see, we'll have to be very careful in that. So śiṣṭa ācāraḥ is dharma. What they say is dharma, what they practice is dharma, and that becomes our pramana, our source of knowledge. And in this shloka, in this particular shloka, Bhagavan, we said there are three, we just saw there are three sources of knowledge: Shrutis, Smritis and śiṣṭa ācāraḥ. In this shloka, Bhagavan is only talking about śiṣṭa ācāraḥ. He is not talking about Shrutis or Smritis. Because sometimes dharma is so sukshma that by reading alone one will not be able to grasp the subtleness, the subtleness of dharma. Only when we see dharma in action will we be able to follow it. That's why in the case of even if a child, suppose you tell the child how to lead the life, they may not be able to follow it. They may not be able to listen to and adapt. What they would be able to do it is actually to instead of listening to parents' words, they will be able to watch the parents and learn from them. So having said that, because the child looks up to their parents or looks up to its parents for what is right, what is wrong, what is to be followed, what is not to be followed, what is to be done, what is not to be done, the first śiṣṭa ācāraḥ for any child in this world is mātha, the mother. So as a newborn child, initially the child does not have any world outside of the mother. So the child only follows the mother, and therefore the position of mother is very important, because the mother influences maximum, and in fact according to the psychologists, right from the time of pregnancy, the mother's thoughts themselves influence the child. Therefore, the first role model is the mother. The next role model is pitha, father. Father is the next big influence on the child. And then the next model is ācharya or guru. Because in the initial formative years of the child is actually going to be constantly within the either at home or in the school, and therefore the influence of father, mother, or the teacher is going to be high. And the child does not look for words. The child basically starts looking up to what each of them are doing. It considers every action to be an advice. As they say, one seconds of action is equivalent to 1 hours of verbal advice. And typically that's how it works. Even for us, video works better than audio. In same way, for a child, what it sees has more influence than what it hears. And that's why in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad it is said that a person grows into mature human being. He becomes a mature human being only if he has gone through 3 ideal relationships. And the 3 ideal relationship is, one is mātrṛ saṃbandaḥ. Mātrṛ saṃbandaḥ is the first one. Then the second one is pitrṛ saṃbandaḥ, the relationship with father. And then the third is ācharya saṃbandaḥ. In the Janaka and Yajnavalkya Samvadam in this Upanishad, Janaka, he asks, whether the teaching will be proper or not. Then the ācharya says, you need not have any doubt on that, because the one who gives out this teaching is the one who has gone through these 3 ideal relationships. And because he has got 3 good ideal relationships, whatever he says will be true. Yata mātrṛman pitrṛman ācāryavan bhriviti tata shaivalli raha. That's how the Upanishad says. So if a person has got these 3 relationships, proper relationships, then his understanding of the society, his understanding of what is dharma and adharma will be proper. Therefore, mātha, pitha, then guru are the śiṣṭa ācāraḥ for a growing child. Then after that comes the ruler, then the friends, all these people. In those days, the rulers or the kings were examples. Nowadays, we cannot take the politicians as role models. And nowadays, what happens is the role models for a child are not just the politicians, probably not the politicians, not as much as probably the sports heroes, cricketing heroes, or the actors, which are probably even worse than politicians. But if you look at them, they kind of do this hero worship through imitations. So they imitate what their hero does perform on the screen. And that's why I said, their actions create more influence on a child than actually their words. So thus, when we see a child is not reading the right book, then the role model we see is taken from the house. If a child sees the father as smoking or drinking, then it is easy for the child to pick up these habits from the father when it grows up. So we say Shruti, Smriti are the primary pramanas for dharma, but śiṣṭācāraḥ has the most influence in our life. So śiṣṭācāraḥ is very important. Next thing we have to understand is, as we grow up as an individual, and say some people who, when we grow up, the same child when it grows up, now there will be other people who would be looking up to this person. So any individual, when they grow up, you will see always there will be somebody or other who will be looking upon this person as their role model. So everybody has got a responsibility here. Each one of us, we will have at least one or more, one or two at least persons who will be looking up to us as role models. If there is no one who is looking up to me, then we can safely say I can lead the life I want to. But if I have a responsibility, what is a responsibility? If I have someone is looking up to me, then I have a role to play. So if I am a parent, if I am a teacher, or if I am a ruler, I have added responsibilities. So there are people who are looking up to me, and I have to ensure that I follow a proper way of life. And that is what Bhagavan calls out here. He says, Arjuna, you are a kshatriya. You are a role model to so many people. And therefore, you have a responsibility. So whether you like it or not, you must do your duties. That is what Bhagavan is calling out in this sloka. So that's why for us, even if we do not like it, we must do certain actions because there are people who are looking up to us. We may not like to perform puja, we may not like to perform prayers, we may not like to go to temples, but we should still do them because we are setting an example. So it's very important, and a teacher also has got a added responsibility. Swami Dayananda Saraswati used to say that when he was a teacher, when he was young, he used to take people along with him to Rishikesh. And in the Rishikesh, when there was a need to climb hills, he will always find a shortcut to climb that hills. It would not matter to him whether it was steep or rocky, he will be able to manage. But then he realized that, when other people, when there were some people who had some difficulties, there were some old people in the group as well, and some slipped and got back on their feet, then Swamiji realized that they were following him blindly because he was the example for them. So he realized then, if I'm going alone, I can take all these shortcuts and steep paths and all, but if there are followers, then I should take the path that is ideal, conducive for them. That is the responsibility of a śiṣṭa. So if people are watching us, if people are taking us as an example for leading their lives, then automatically we get a responsibility. We have a responsibility, and whether we like it or not, we should perform the duties for the sake of people who are looking up to us. So here Bhagavan says, Arjuna, whether you like it or not, you are an important member of the society. You are a very popular person. He was like a superhero in those days. He's an all-rounder. He was a fantastic archer. He was a powerful person, handsome person. He could dance. He could sing. He has gone to the heavens. He has conquered enemies. He was an all-rounder. So whatever he does, the society was waiting to follow them. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, you cannot run away. You cannot run away from this war because of your likes and dislikes. Because you have a responsibility. śiṣṭa ācāraḥ. So what we have to understand from here is, whenever a woman becomes a mother, she takes up the responsibility automatically. Whenever a man becomes a father, he takes up the responsibility. Whoever becomes a teacher, they take up upon even a bigger responsibility than the others. So whatever others follow, whatever the leaders follow or the elders follow or the elders do, the life that they lead, these elders, śiṣṭa, the life that they lead is what others take as dharma. So if somebody does something on the screen and that a hero does on the screen, they take it that this is allowed, this is what is dharma, or this is what can be done because my hero is doing it. So every one of us have a bigger responsibility, and therefore we must perform karma yoga for the sake of society. So in this context, in this sloka, Bhagavan is basically giving Arjuna no choice to escape from this war. He is not giving him any chance to escape from his duties. Now we'll go into the sloka. Yadyad ācārati śiṣṭah. Śiṣṭah means superior one. We can say responsible members of the society. As I said, the cultured people, the informed people, the learned people, the leader. śiṣṭah. Yadyad ācārati. Yadyad means whichever. Ācārati, I already said, performs. So whichever a superior one performs, yadyad ācārati śiṣṭah. In other words, whatever the śiṣṭācārah performs, or the śiṣṭācārah, tat eva itaro janaha. Eva itaro janaha. Tadat eva itaro janaha. Eva tattat means only such actions. Tattat, that those actions, only those actions. Itara janaha. Itara janaha means other people, every other people. We have to just add that ācārati here also. Only such actions every other person performs. So every other person performs only such actions whichever a superior one performs. So here śiṣṭah, when we say śiṣṭah, it depends on the situation. So a mother is a śiṣṭah for the child. A teacher is śiṣṭah for the students. So whoever sees us as an example for leading their life, we become śiṣṭah for them. For others, we might be alpaha. We may be insignificant. For people who follow us, we become śiṣṭah. So a father could be śiṣṭah for the child, for in the house. Then when he goes to the office, he could be an alpaha for the boss, because the boss need not follow him or will not follow him. So thus for all of us, for someone we will be śiṣṭah in some way or other. So if the father is able to get up early, do the puja, then what happens? The child will one day follow the father. If the father wakes up early in the morning, lights up a cigarette and then does something else, then the child one day will also follow the same thing. Some people might say, look, I am actually doing all these things, but my child is not following, my children are not following what I am doing. That is a different thing. Because in that case, what happens is, they would have picked up the śiṣṭah from someone outside the house. They may not be looking up to us, they may be looking up to someone else outside the house. That's possible. Or in some cases, there could be vasanas in the child which are specific to that jiva. So every person comes up with their vasanas also. So they might not be following what we do at home. But in general, what is followed by the elders becomes the next generation's implicit lessons. So it's kind of lessons implicitly. They need not teach, they need not preach. It just is picked up. It is imbibed automatically. Now in the second line, Bhagavan actually repeats the same concept. He says, Sayat pramanam kurute. Sayat pramanam kurute. Yaha saha kurute. Which he sets. Saha. Saha refers to the śiṣṭah, the elders. yet here means the lifestyle they follow. The lifestyle they follow means in terms of dharma and adharma, what they consider as must be done, should not be done, and all those things. Dharma and adharma matters. Pramanam, it is set as standard. Lokastad anuvartate. Lokaha means the world. Anuvartate tat. Anuvartate means follows. Tat, that. The world follows that. So, sayat pramanam kurte. That lifestyle of the elders set the standard. Lokastad anuvartate, and people follow that only. So, what they perform becomes the standard, becomes the standard for the people who follow them. So what does Bhagavan wants to convey here? He says śiṣṭa is the basis for determining dharma and adharma. Dharma and adharma is determined by what the elders in the society perform or act. So summarizing this sloka, Bhagavan says every other person performs only such actions whichever a superior one performs, and the world follows that which he sets as a standard. So whatever we act, that becomes a standard for the next generation or for the people who follow us. So therefore, Arjuna, you are now in such a position where you are setting an example for so many people around you, and therefore you must take an extra responsibility and you must perform your duties. Even for us, what happens? There is always this extra responsibility. The moment we have come to Gita class, now we have to set an example. We have to control our anger. We must not get irritated. We must be punctual. Because we have come to this, therefore now people might look up to us and say, you are going to the class and therefore I am expecting a certain standard from you. And therefore we become śiṣṭa in the society. So, and the question is, one question that might come up is, when will we get this shraddha in life? The shraddha towards shastras, of course, whatever we hear, whatever we read is one thing, but our shraddha generally comes up or gets fortified only if we see dharma being followed by someone. When we see somebody following dharma, our gurus, our acharyas and others, now our shraddha becomes even more stronger. So this is very important for us. So Bhagavan says here, Arjuna, perform karma yoga. Now Bhagavan is going to talk about śiṣṭa in the coming slokas also. Next sloka we'll take. Sloka number 22. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptamavaptavyam vartayeva cha karmani. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptamavaptavyam vartayeva cha karmani. So Bhagavan talked about śiṣṭa. In this sloka he is giving an example. Drishtantam, we say. Example means drishtantam. So Bhagavan is basically trying to answer a question that Arjuna might have in his mind. Arjuna could say, okay, you've told about the śiṣṭa that people might want to follow me. Now, who should I take as an example for śiṣṭa? If Arjuna says, whom should I take as an example for śiṣṭa? Bhagavan gives himself as an example. Bhagavan tells he himself is an example. He says, Bhagavan says, I have nothing to accomplish. I have nothing to accomplish, but people look up to me. And therefore, I am still in action. So he is giving himself as an example for śiṣṭa ācāraḥ. He says, Name partha asti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. Partha or Arjuna, me means for me, kartavyam na asti. There is no duty for me. There is no duty for me, O Arjuna. Now where? In this Bhuloka, Bhagavan does not have any duty, but does he have duties in the other worlds? Bhagavan says, no. Trishu lokeshu. In all three worlds, I don't have any duties. There is no duty for me in all the three worlds. So somebody may say, are you sure? Is there only one duty? Maybe you will have to protect us, or maybe you may have to ensure that everything is in order. Bhagavan says, kinchana. Absolutely nothing. Not even a bit. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. Nothing. Not even a bit. Some people might say, I've got nothing in this. I have no more duty in this world. I am free. And then if you ask them, maybe I just have to do this. Maybe I'll have to get my granddaughter married, or I'll have to see my grandson. They will have something or other, something that is left behind. So this kinchana, Bhagavan says, there is nothing. I have no duty at all. Then Arjuna may ask, then why did you become my charioteer? Why did you come as a charioteer? Bhagavan is going to say, śiṣṭa ācāraḥ. I do it to set as an example. Kinchana kartavyam nasti. I do not have any duty. Why does he not have any duties? Bhagavan gives in the second line that answer. He says, na anavaptavam, na anavaptam avaptavyam. Avaptavyam means to be attained. Avaptavyam means to be attained. Praptavyam means something to be attained. Anavaptam means not yet attained. Na anavaptam avaptavyam. So, na means not. Anavaptam means not yet attained. Avaptavyam means to be attained. So, Bhagavan puts a sentence and then negates it at the end. Not yet attained, to be attained, not. Not yet attained, to be attained, not. In other words, what does it mean is, there is nothing to be attained which is not yet attained. There is nothing for me to attain which has not, everything has been attained. There is nothing for me left. In other words, we always use this word. Earlier also we had used this word, kritakrityasya. We always use kritakrityasya. I have attained whatever that needs to be attained. That negation is here. Na anavaptam avaptavyam. Because there is nothing to be attained, there is no action to be performed. If you have to attain something, there is kartavyam. Because only action can help us to attain something. Bhagavan says, I do not have anything to attain. There's nothing. So Bhagavan is basically giving double negatives. Why Bhagavan is giving double negative? To emphasize. When we are speaking, if it's kind of heard, if I repeat, it becomes an emphasis so that we don't forget it. But in this shloka, we cannot repeat it. So Bhagavan is using the concept of double negatives. Suppose we say to a person, we have given a book to that person, we say, please come with the book tomorrow. It's one way to say, come with the book tomorrow. But there is also another way to do this emphasis. We say, do not come without the book tomorrow. If I say that, it means it gives importance. It more impactful. The emphasis is there. Similarly, Bhagavan gives a double negation here. So here Bhagavan says only action will help you to attain something. Bhagavan says I do not have anything to attain, and yet Bhagavan says Varta evacha karmani. Evacha means still. Varte karmani. I remain in action. So Bhagavan, how does he remain in action? He is now the charioteer. He is also the duty of now Gita ācharya. He is actually taken on the duty of a teacher. So he still remains in action, although he has nothing to attain. So he says, "O Arjuna, there is no duty for me in these three worlds. There is nothing to be attained in this which is not yet attained by me. Still, I remain in action." Why do we say Bhagavan has attained everything? Because Bhagavan, we already saw, Bhagaha means Bhagavan. The Bhaga means sixfold wealth. Bhaga means sixfold wealth. Van means the possessor of the sixfold wealth. What are the sixfold wealth? We say Aishvaryasya Samagrasya Virasya Yashashriyah Jnana Vairagya Yoshchaiva Sannam Bhagat Itiranah. Aishvaryasyam. Aishvaryasyam means power, lordship, we can say. Aishvaryam does not mean wealth here. Aishvaryam here means lordship, ruler kind of thing. That's why Ishvara comes from the word Aishvaryam here. Ishvara means ruler. So Aishvaryasya, Ishvaras, ruler or the controller of everything. The second one is Aishvaryasya Samagrasya. Samagrasya means everything is in full. What are the fulls? Aishvaryam, then Virasya. Viryam means valor, courage. Then Yashashriyaha. Yashaha Shriyaha. Yashaha means fame. Shriha means prosperity. Here it means wealth, prosperity. Then, so lordship, courage, fame, wealth. Then Jnana Vairagya. Jnana means knowledge. Vairagya means, we can say, independence, freedom. No dependence on anything. Vairagyam. So all these six, Aishvaryam, Viryam, Yasha, Shrihi, Jnana, Vairagyam, 6 things are in full measure. Samagrasya. Samagrasya means full measure. We also have all these 6, but we do not have it in full measure. We may have a controllership on something, certain things in life. We may also have some vairagya here, some certain things. We also have some wealth. We also have some courage. We also have some fame. We are known in certain circles. All those things are there, but we do not have it in full measure. Whereas Bhagavan is one who has everything in full measure. So that's why Bhagavan has nothing to do. He has nothing to attain. Therefore, we can say Bhagavan has nothing to do or get or attain. So now we'll go to the Sloka number 23. Yadi hyayam na varteyam jatu karmanya tandritah mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. Yadi hyayam na varteyam jatu karmanya tandritah mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. So in this Sloka 23 and in the next Sloka 24, Bhagavan is giving the doshas of a society. Doshas of a society not having śiṣṭa. What will happen if there is no śiṣṭa? What will be the consequences if there are no people following Dharma? So this is the in sloka number 23 and 24. Right now, I would want to take a break right now. Next couple of sessions, I would want to have, we will continue this after 2 classes, the Bhagavad Gita, especially 23 and 24 and onwards. But right now, I would want to actually let people come in the month of December. We will have people come and discuss how Bhagavad Gita or what they have heard from these classes, their reflections or their learnings or their doubts. If there are people who would want to share among the rest of the people, it's also a good way to actually know whether your doubt is the same as other people. And if you have any doubts, you can come and discuss in this forum. And I need not be the only one who need to answer. If there are other people who have had similar experiences and who have had some similar or have had some understanding and how they are actually able to follow what has been taught, their own experience, they can share as well. So this is the idea behind probably the next 2 sessions. So I hope this will be an opportunity for every one of you to actually come and give your thoughts, your reflections on how Bhagavad Gita has helped you or what sort of help you need or how we can actually make this better. Because right now, as I see, and I've taken some feedback from some people, especially Ashish ji, this is good, but in the sense it's been like one way where I've been actually saying there have been not many opportunity for people to ask questions. I probably don't give enough time at the end also to ask people, take questions from people. So maybe in the next couple of sessions in the month of at least December, we will keep it such a way that there is kind of more like a group discussion around Bhagavad Gita and your experience in life. How does people feel about it? Do you have any thoughts that in terms of the structure? Are you okay for actually opening up in the next couple of sessions? What do you think?
Yeah, great idea. Great idea. I mean, it's important to also get a perspective from other people, right? Just to see as like how different people are assimilating all of this content, and it probably will open up different perspectives which others may not have.
Yeah.
So, because everybody's life is so different, and everybody, individually also, the nature of everyone is so different. So it will be quite a interesting experience, I believe. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Thanks, Karthik ji. Anybody in violent disagreement on this? Ashish ji, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, I mean, Guruji, I've had a chat with you, and I think, I don't know if others noticed, but I was kind of absent from a few sessions. I rejoined after a while, and the reason for that was I was feeling a bit conflicted between life in general and these teachings. And I think the break initially made me feel a little guilty. So I personally would be very happy to have these conversations. I think not just life, I think life in its entirety in terms of our situations, our relationships, our attitude towards that, and what we want from it tends to affect what we absorb from the learnings that you've been imparting to us through these sessions over a period of time. I don't know how much everyone else was contemplating, going back, thinking about, etc. But I had kind of started going a bit on the negative side, in the sense that doubting my assimilation from these learnings. And that is where I think it's important for me to discuss with some of you. I think Guruji, as has a perspective which he has given me, but I would also like to hear from others and would like to give them my bit of how I took, some of these lessons. So hopefully, these exchange of notes between us will help us, as well as probably, pardon me, Guruji, I'm taking the liberty of saying this, but probably it will also help Guruji to see, the impact of some of the words that they are having on us, and maybe clarify those points, because I'm sure the learning is not the problem. The problem is the assimilation of that learning in some of our cases, and I hope that'll be helpful for everyone.
Thank you, Ashish ji. Anybody else has got any opinion on the sessions that we look to have in the coming weeks?
Yeah, Hari Om. It will be good to, I agree with what Ashish ji as well as Karthik ji has said. For your information, Ashish ji, I was negative and then I came here and became positive. So I'll be very keen to exchange notes with you. So I'm looking forward to these sessions, moving forward. Yeah.
Jaya ji, do you want to? Jaya? Okay.
Yeah, personally for me, right, now that the floor is open, I'm like itching to talk. So maybe, but personally for me, Guruji has always been asking me to kind of revisit some of those lessons. So I joined a little bit during the start of the second chapter is where I joined. And, I started listening, but it was just a weekly exercise. And Guruji had been asking me to go and revisit back to the older lessons, and then I have started doing it very regularly. And I do it early in the morning. I set out for a walk every day at 6 a.m. And then for 1 hour, I'm continuously listening to what Guruji is talking in all those videos. And it is just absolutely, it brings so much of clarity in me, so it has been a process. So not just these lessons, but I do set some time apart from it. Like Guruji has always been, I don't know, the best way to judge is Guruji's hearing what I am saying, and maybe he will correct me whether I am doing it correctly or not. So I have been meditating upon all of these aspects, like sitting with myself, and I know I am just scratching the surface of this vast ocean of knowledge. But whatever it is, I have found a lot of self-assurance in my behaviors, in my interaction. I am less, I don't seek much of a validation from the outside world in terms of acknowledgement. I have brought down my, threshold of, seeking validation outwardly. Like, so those kind of things, it's just, I guess, that maturity, many of you might have already have it, right? So from my personal experience, it has just come to me just recently, and I'm like willing to, just do my duty without seeking any validation. Like Guruji has always talked about Ishwara Panam Prasada Buddhi. So whatever opportunities. So now there used to be a time when I used to seek, we all seek blessings for, a nice, wonderful job, get me out of this troublesome situation, get me this. So that thing does not come up very, like forthright. I'm not seeking something. I'm just saying, whatever be the situation, which is required for the evolution of me as a human being, I will happily accept it. Just give me the courage, wisdom, and the strength to pull through whatever situation that may be. So I am not like seeking for any favorable situation, unfavorable situation.
Okay.
Nobody wants to be put in an favorable situation, but if it has to come because of my past karmas or whatever, just give me the strength and the wisdom to see through it, Yeah. So my 2 cents.
Thank you, Karthik ji. Jaramji, you want to see some sense?
Yeah. See, actually, I would also like we are already following many parts of the Bhagavad Gita in our normal life, and some of the concepts which you have taught, I've already told you. Like some things I really appreciate, like mainly like shamaha, damaha, then the equanimity. All these things are very important points to follow in the life. Especially I find the shama, dama thing where you have to have control of the mind, control of the senses. These are all very important things. So in actual life, it actually matters. So we are already following that from your teachings, and going forward, I think these things are going to apply more and more in our lives. So these basic points which you have taught, as far as following in your life, these things are very important. That is what I feel.
Okay. So we will. So I take it as there is no violent disagreement on this one. So we will have the next couple of sessions, and we will take it from there in terms of how many more sessions we will need. But the next 2 sessions would be kind of an open floor for people to share their doubts, their reflections, their learnings, their experience, and it's more for people to hear, to exchange notes. So we'll leave it like that. So I'll be sending out this message in the group and also in the other group, so that other group members who are probably were part of another set of classes, they can also join. So we will make it as an open session in the next class or the next session. If there are no more things, then we will close the session for today. We will again meet next week.
Thank you, Guruji.
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om.